Hello everyone, Jolene here from Bookworm Adventure Girl. Welcome back. I hope that you are all well, and if you are new, thanks for checking out my channel. Please hit subscribe and stick around. About a week or so ago, I talked about a book club that I started over 10 years ago, and I gave some tips on what has really helped our group be successful. In over 10 years, we have read close to 100 books. I think we're at like 98 or 99 books at this point. And today I am going to be talking about 10 recommendations that are good for book clubs. So these books are all fiction, and they are all books that lend themselves to be good for discussions for our book club. So they are not necessarily the best books or the highest rated books that I have, but they are books that everyone in the group got something out of it and had enough meat in it to talk about them. So I'm not sharing these in any particular order, just kind of in the order that I wrote them down, which was super random. So I'm going to start with Before I Go to Sleep by S.J. Watson. And many people have likened this book to the movie 50 First Dates with Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler. I think it's because the main character, Christine, was in an accident 20 years before, and she can't form new memories. And every day when she wakes up, the man in her bed and in her house has to tell her that he's been her husband and basically fill her in on her life. And this book is much darker than 50 First Dates, though. So don't think that you're getting a rom-com here. That is not the case. This is a thriller with a mystery and a lot of suspense. And the members of my book club really liked this book. We had really good discussion around the suspense and the mystery. So if you are in a book club and you're looking for thrillers or want to try one, then this might be a good one to start with. Next is The Cellist of Sarajevo by Stephen Galloway. And this book is also intense, but in a different way. This is a historical fiction set during the 1990s siege of Sarajevo. And what connects the characters in this book is the theme of survival and how each person finds hope to keep them going as they live through the violence in their city. Up next is an author that I really like, and that is Alice Hoffman's The Dovekeepers. This is another historical fiction novel, and it takes place in Israel in 70 CE when 900 Jews held off Roman armies for many months on Masada. And I've been to Masada, and I've walked atop this mountain. And to be able to do what they did for so long is quite impressive. According to a historian, 2 women and 5 children survived this. And Alice Hoffman tells the story of 4 very strong women who are also dovekeepers. And she really brings this ancient story to life. All of the members of our book club resonated with this book. And these characters in some way. And this was a well-loved book, I think, by everyone, if I remember correctly. Next on the list is A Tale for the Time Being by Ruth Ozeki. And I think we all found this to be a surprising read. It ended up being a book that we all enjoyed, and obviously, since it's on this list, we had a good discussion about it. So this book connects Ruth, who is a novelist living in BC, with a Japanese teenage girl named Neo. When Ruth finds a Hello Kitty lunchbox that has been washed up on shore. And inside is a diary and letters. And this book tells the story of these 2 characters. There are mystical elements, and it plays with time a bit. There are many historical and recognizable events used in the story, and we all just really liked how the Japanese culture was presented. So this is definitely worth a read, and there's definitely a lot to pull from if you are looking for a good group discussion. At number 5 is The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. The main character, Christopher Boone, is someone who I think will stay with you for some time after you read this story. If I remember correctly, it is never explicitly said that Christopher has autism, but describing him and his interests and how he sees the world, I think it is pretty clear that he is on the spectrum. When his neighbor's dog, Wellington, dies, Christopher is suspicious and begins to investigate. And what made this book unique was that you are inside Christopher's head the entire time. So you are approaching, the entire story the way that he would. And I think that that's what made this book so popular for its time. It had more of an impact, I think, that way. It was very well done. Okay, so we are halfway there with Little Bee by Chris Cleave. And this is another story which the main character, Little Bee, will remain with you for some time. Little Bee is from Nigeria. Her family has been killed in a massacre. And while trying to escape, she meets an English woman on the beach, and this changes their lives forever during this chance encounter that they have. And I think what made this book, such a great book for discussion is that it wasn't perfect. There was a lot of violence and a lot of topics to touch upon, and there was just a number of different perspectives from those who read it. The next book I want to talk about is The Kitchen House by Kathleen Grissom. And I have to be honest that when my book club read this, I had started it, but I couldn't get into it. And after the group's discussion, I was like, maybe I just need to go back and read this book. And when I read it the next time, I loved it. I couldn't put it down. I just became enveloped by the stories and characters. Lavinia is the main character in this story, and she is a 7-year-old at the beginning of the story. She's a white orphan who ends up on a tobacco plantation. And at first, she lives and works with the slaves in the kitchen house. They become her family, and when she's accepted into the world of the big house, it is not an easy transition for her, and she finds herself with kind of a foot in both worlds. And this was an excellent read, and there is a sequel that I am really needing to get to as well, because it's been on my shelf for a while now. At number 8 is coincidentally Orphan number 8 by Kim van Alkemade. And this one was also well loved by the group, and it lent itself well to a good discussion. The story is based on true events. The main character, Rachel, was 4 years old in 1919 when she was sent to a Jewish orphanage in New York. And it is at this orphanage that Rachel undergoes X-ray treatments that leave her disfigured. And as an adult, Rachel becomes a nurse, and when one of her patients is the doctor who did the X-ray treatments, Rachel is forced to look at her past once again. And there are so many moral and ethical decisions made in this book, and I think that that's why our book club had such a great discussion about it. Okay, the final 2 books. First is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. This is considered YA, probably because the main character, Star, who I absolutely love. She is 16 years old. She's the narrator, and Star is a black girl, but lives in a very white world, and she kind of has to be 2 different people in these worlds. And she is with her friend Khalil when he is shot and killed by a police officer. Star then has to make a difficult decision whether or not she will tell the truth, which will put her family at risk, or if she will remain silent. So again, there was a lot to discuss here, not only the topics that the book brings up, but in the writing and characters as well. There's a lot to take from this one. And the movie also remains very true to the book, and I still have the prequel to this called Concrete Rose that I need to read. which I hope to do soon, and I hope it's just as good. And then the final book on the list is The Virgin of Small Plains by Nancy Pickard. And I started with a mystery, then thriller, and I'm going to end with this mystery. In this story, which is set in Kansas in 1987, a dead body of a young girl is found in the snow. And in the 20 years after her death, the girl kind of becomes a legend in the town, and it's believed that good things happen to the people who take care of her grave, and miracles occur. So the mystery is, how did the girl die in the first place? Like, what really happened here? This is another book that was compelling, and that our group talked about the story, the characters, and the writing. Plus, it's a fairly easy and quick read, so if that's something that appeals to your group or to you, then this is a good one for that. So those are the 10 fiction book recommendations that have been good selections for the book club that I have been part of for a long time, for over a decade now. I will leave a list of all of the books that I mentioned in the description box below, so if you want to have a look at those, you can. And I will have more videos coming up with nonfiction recommendations, probably some humor recommendations, different authors. So if you are still looking for more book club recommendation kind of things, then be sure to check those out. Please let me know if you have any fiction books that you think should be on this list, that you think would be specifically for book clubs. I'd love to hear your recommendations for that. And if you are looking for something like a certain type of book or something very specific for your book clubs, please let me know, and I would be happy to see if I can offer some suggestions for you. As always, I look forward to chatting with you in the comments. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and don't forget to make every day an adventure.